Hi, welcome to round 4. We're playing Modern PPTQ General Games. We've got Maitland Cameron on Blue Light Control versus Hui Chen on Slivers. Let's get into the game as soon as we can.
Two very interesting decks.
Yep.
So we've resolved mulligans. It looks like Cameron has Scry to the bottom. And Sliver Hive into Gale Rider Sliver.
So the Sliver deck's a very aggressive beatdown deck against a very typical control deck. We'll see Maitland trying to basically kill everything that we plays as we go through the game.
Maitland deciding to lead with Celestial Colonnade. A very good finisher in blue-white control, which typically lacks creatures.
And so if you ever had a quick look at Maitland's list earlier, he tends to be a fairly tap-out control deck. Not a lot of counter magic. A full complement of meta spreading seas.
And here we have Mana Weft Sliver, I believe.
Mana Weft Sliver. All your slivers tap for mana. Very fast acceleration.
Yep. Very powerful in this deck, which just loves to drop its hand. In conjunction with Blur Sliver, which gives slivers haste.
So the main plan of the slivers deck is to get some cheap slivers into play, give them evasion with Gale Rider Sliver, and then use the power of collected company to assemble a bunch of sliver lords, make them all really big, and then get a bunch of 4/4 flyers, 5/5 flyers in to attack your opponent as quickly as possible. So we have our first Sliver Lord, which is, I think it says Sedge Sliver? Check this.
I believe so.
That is a Sedge Sliver. It would give all the slivers +1/+1 and the ability to regenerate for a single black.
So Maitland was holding up Mana Leak here, and I'm surprised that he didn't decide to counter
there's a Cavern of Souls.
Yes.
Naming
yes.
Sliver. Makes the counter magic a little weaker. Difficult to hit much. It'll still pick up the collected companies, hopefully.
And Path here to reduce the damage needs to keep his life total healthy in order to weather the coming storm.
And Sedge Sliver is like one of the key cards in the Sliver deck. It functions as a law, but also give the regeneration, let you commit to the board much more aggressively.
Definitely.
Defend against wraths and things.
And so just a simple draw a Wall of Omens, looking to put up some defense, but sadly due to Gale Rider Sliver, which gives all other slivers flying, it won't be doing much blocking today.
Maitland's looking to just hopefully get Gale Rider Sliver out of the air, get Wall of Omens to do some blocking, survive until he can start leaning on his Gideons and things in his hand. He's got a Jace in his hand, which would be very good at stopping the beatdown at the moment, given that there's a bunch of 1-power creatures in play.
And so here we see the collected company. Sadly, Maitland didn't have enough mana to mana leak it, so it's going to resolve.
Let's see spin the wheel, see what we get. It's a very powerful effect when it's your day. We've got a lot of options over here. Let's see what we can get. We've got a Gale Rider Sliver, a Blur Sliver.
It looks like a Blur.
A Master with Aether Vial in there as well. Very shiny. Is it a Sinew Sliver or something? I have no idea. I don't recognize the other one.
No, I don't recognize the other one
Blur
either.
Sliver and I can't tell.
It is red.
Yes. It's certainly a red sliver of some variety, and it's not a Sedge Sliver.
But by choosing these slivers, he has the potential of casting another collected company due to the fact that Blur Sliver gives itself and the other sliver haste, and the Mana Weft Sliver allows them to tap for mana. But
looks like we've got another Path Exile on the way.
So Hugh does have a second Coco in hand, so he might respond here. It looks like he's thinking about it.
Oh, we have deck list. Excellent. You can figure out what the sliver is.
So...
Oh, do we? Okay. Excellent. I missed that.
So it looks like he is, in fact, going for the second Coco. I think this was a great time when Maitland was tapped out to resolve such a powerful spell.
Turn 5, 2 Cocos is big blowout.
Yep, this is the specialty of this deck. Most other decks don't get to Coco twice in one turn.
Certainly not on turn 5.
No, definitely not on turn 5.
But putting 4 creatures into play is a very good turn 5. What have we got? A Sentinel Sliver?
And a Necrotic Sliver.
Necrotic Sliver is going to be big here.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who aren't aware, Necrotic Sliver will let you pay 3 mana to have your slivers vindicate something. And so when your slivers are all dying to removal, being able to spend 3 mana to have that sliver destroy a land
is very powerful.
Very good in these control matchups.
And Huey should be concerned. Maitland is nearly up to 4 mana, and that is Supreme Verdict mana, which would be very powerful here. Wipe away the board.
He has 3 in his main deck, so 1 here could be very impactful. Clean up the board very nicely from Maitland's perspective. And
here we see a Jace Architect. Architect of Thought. And
so, it's interesting here. So he has the option to tick up, which reduces the... There's currently 8 flying power on the board. Mm-hmm. And so ticking up reduces that down to 3, whereas ticking down lets him look for a Wrath, which actually he doesn't have, and he's looking for desperately. But still leaves him viable, taking another 6 or so in the air after Jace dies.
So sadly, Maitland revealed 3 lands after Jace minus. So he just added 2 lands to hand. Still looking pretty weak here in comparison to the amount of flying power on the board. And Huey looking for another Lord effect.
Ooh, there we go. That's a big one. We've got a Sedge Sliver again. So
again for people.
Yep. Sedge Sliver gives everything +1/+1, and the option to regenerate his creatures as well. Which, given that his 3 creatures all have Vigilance and tap for mana currently, it's going to be very hard for Maitland to find a way out here.
Yep, this might be...
It's going to be looking for a third path to exile and a Wrath is like his only real out.
Indeed.
That's a lot of flying power coming across.
Yep,
and Maitland agrees. And that'll be the game. We've got to see what Slivers is looking to do. It's a lot of creatures, flood the board, make them big, give them flying, vigilance, tap for mana, accelerate very quickly into a giant army.
Mm-hmm.
The power of Collected Company or Aether Vial letting them do that very quickly.
So what do you think the sideboard options for blue-white control are?
Well, we've got Slivers deck up for the moment, so we'll start with Slivers. So if Slivers is looking for ways to protect his Slivers. So we have, the Spellskite seems great.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Harmonic Sliver aren't really where he wants to be.
No.
Telekinetic Sliver, the one that protects his creatures. If it is that one, that one seems great. Too many Slivers, not enough time.
I agree.
But yeah, just ways to protect his creatures. Unified Will seems fantastic as well as a counter spell. And then taking out probably doesn't want those dismembers look fairly poor.
He might choose to leave 1 or 2 in.
I mean, there are some Gideons in Maitland's deck, which answers nicely.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't see those, so we're not sure. Otherwise, Siphon Sliver also seems pretty weak because Lifelink is going to be super relevant. And then for Maitland's side,
he has a Condemn and Dispel. The Dispel might be a good inclusion.
I like Dispel to beat Collected Company.
I agree.
And Condemn, obviously, just more removal seems fantastic. I like Timely Reinforcements as well a lot here, and the extra Wrath seems super good.
The extra Supreme would be welcome.
So he's looking at, again, it's leaning very heavily on Supreme Verdicts to clear up the board and make all of those nasty Slivers go away.
Yeah, I think the Jace didn't look too good here.
No, it looks pretty awkward when you're making everything might give -1 power, and your opponent's creatures all have +2/+2 anyway. So probably not. Maybe that comes out. Otherwise, the mana leaks don't seem particularly good. They get because of the Cavern of Souls, so that can be a contention there. Although Spreading Seas makes it a lot better.
Yeah. The 4 Spreading Seas in the main is unusual but very powerful against Slivers with all its non-basic lands and its reliance on Cavern of Souls and Sliver Hive.
Seeing since Slivers' manas can be they have a lot of 5-color lands, but they need them. And so if they can get stuck without without a Sliver Hive or a Cavern of Souls, it can be very hard for them to cast their spells.
Indeed. And the detention spheres also look fairly interesting. We didn't see repeats of any slivers on the board, but sometimes it can be a huge blowout.
If you ever catch 2 slivers with it, it seems fantastic. And also it's another way to get around the regeneration that comes with Sedge Sliver.
Indeed.
Which is like, because the big issue is trying to resolve a Wrath that while they can't regenerate all their creatures. So fighting over those Sedge Slivers is really important in the matchup, making sure that you can get them off the board. Alright, so shuffling up for game 2.
Yep.
So Maitland, I assume, will be on the play, looking to not get overrun quite as quickly. Keep the Mana Weft Slivers off the board, keep the Sedge Slivers off the board, stop the collected companies from resolving.
Yep, Mana Leak looks a lot better on the play when you have a chance to interact on turn 1 and 2. Well, turn 2 and 3 actually.
Yeah. And so we'll see. And then obviously, when he's not dying on turn 5, Maitland's looking to go very long. He's got Sphinx Revelations and Gideons to control the board and eventually beat down when there's nothing left with a single Gideon or a single Celestial Colonnade.
It's to note that we find Crucible Worlds in the sideboard. I think that's fairly interesting and indicative of a very long game, though I doubt he brought it in.
Yeah, it doesn't seem good when your opponent is trying to kill you on turn 5. Yep. So we've got a mulligan to 6 from Hugh. Didn't like what he had. It can be very impactful in these matchups, losing cards in the aggressive deck, because the control deck's trying to trade away. Okay. Hui looking to attack, while Maitland's looking to trade 1-for-1 on cards. And so losing that extra card can make it very hard to push through the last little bit of damage that you need.
I agree. A big pitfall of these 5-color tribal decks is that if you don't have the correct colors on turn 1 and 2, you're not really doing anything.
Yeah.
That's why Mana Weft Sliver is such an important creature in the deck. It allows you to accelerate out like we saw last game, 2 Cocos in 1 turn. Very, very powerful.
Particularly in this deck where it has a lot of cards that interact and get more powerful together when you're short. If you're short a flying sliver or a haste sliver or a lord, everything suddenly becomes all the other creatures also get less powerful, so losing that card can be very impactful. We've got a Scry to the bottom as well.
Indeed.
Didn't like what he sees.
And an immediate fetch by Maitland. Looks like he might be shocking for that Hallowed Fountain. Going to 17, a very aggressive move if that's the case.
Probably for Serum Visions, just looking to set up his next few turns. Probably find a Wrath for turn. Make sure he can Wrath on turn 4.
Yep.
Maybe find some early interaction as well. Look at Hui's hand seems to be short on lands. He's got 2 lands. It seems to there, but so his hand looks pretty strong. Otherwise, I haven't seen much of Maitland's hand. He's looking at a Path to Exile and a Colonnade.
Indeed.
Path to Exile seems to be excellent in this matchup, so I assume that will be going to the top. Yep. We got the Colonnade
to the
bottom.
Colonnade might be a bit slow in the early game.
Yep.
Having to take a turn off, and when it enters the battlefield tapped is quite painful against such an aggressive deck.
Got a nice start for here. Get his 1-drops in play. I think would have loved to see an Aether Vial there, but which is like the most powerful start the deck can have. But get right as a nice consolation prize. Get on the board early.
And here we see Maitland not deploying the Wall of Omens, rather holding up some interaction.
Representing a Mana Leak, which is unfortunately going to be fine. Which I don't think he has, but unfortunately, even if he did, there's a nice Cavern of Souls. I've got to think twice.
A very interesting draw spell.
I love this card. Do nothing but draw cards. It's fantastic.
I know, the flashback, allowing you to invest 5 mana over 2 turns to draw 2 cards.
Alright, so we have Hui's on basically on plan of Gare Rider into Mana Weft Sliver. He's got his acceleration going, ready for a Collected Company potentially next turn, which he doesn't seem to have, but that's the plan. Maybe we'll find it on top of his deck. And Maitland certainly has to be worried about the potential for that.
And here's a Serum Visions, again, trying to dig. It looks like for a Wrath, some more interaction. He does have 2 parts in hand.
So those parts are going to be key here. I would not be surprised to see one pick up the Mana Weft Sliver, potentially in Hui's draw step. or in his upkeep. Otherwise, might just be looking at it, holding up counter magic for a potential collected company. The Jace stayed in. We see it's still there. Making an appearance. So
I think he agreed with your line of thought.
if you can keep the lords off the board, it's very powerful. If you can't, it's a little underwhelming.
And here we see 3 mana.
See, it looks like a diffusion sliver.
Does?
This is an interesting for frenetic sliver. Frenetic sliver. Yeah, this is an interesting card. It flips. It gets some coin flipping going on. Not something you see a lot of in Modern. So it has the ability of what you can pay 0 mana and flip a coin, and then your silver leaves the battlefield. And if you win the flip, it comes back. If you don't win the flip, you don't get it back at all, and you're a little bit sad. But it lets you beat removal spells by every time opponent points a spell at your creature, you get to flip a coin, and if you win the flip, your guy comes back, and the removal spell stays away forever. So it's very powerful against the Path to Exiles that Maitland's got.
Indeed, I like it here. Though I'm surprised that Maitland didn't take the opportunity to path the Manawef Sliver during the upkeep or draw step.
I guess he figures that if his opponent has a collected company, he wants to counter it and doesn't want to give him the chance to resolve it when he taps his mana down.
Very true.
Oh, okay. So otherwise there's and I think it's interesting that he has a choice with the sliver on the stack whether he wants to path the Manawef Sliver now or try and go after the Frenetic Sliver once it's resolved. Because
and so
Maitland's getting Oracle Text because it is a confusing card. Just wants to check that it works the way it says it does, I assume.
Not a very common card.
Just flipping coins is a little odd.
In Modern especially.
So he's gonna choose. I think he's gonna choose to go for a path on the next level. Oh, we get to see who's gonna win.
So
all right, and
I think
that's a win.
And that is a win.
And it's gonna come back.
Huey.
Or maybe coming back. Yeah, it is coming back. There we go. He won the flip, and so we'll see the next level come back.
And here we have Jace, very powerful. He's ticking up this time, and trying to stem the bleeding from the aggressive Sliver deck.
Yeah, so Jace is going to be really good here. It's completely removed his clock. He no longer has any power on his attacks. Well, I guess the Frenetic Sliver has 1 power, but it turns what was 4 damage into 1, and Maitland stabilize the board a lot here. Let him push forward into the later turns.
Indeed, it looks like Huey must look for a Lord effect if he wants to close out this game. The question is, does he try and go after the Jace or after Maitland's life total?
We found a Lord, so that'll help a lot with the attacks. We're no longer at 1 power, back up at 4 damage.
Yep.
Represented.
Interestingly, he's leaving the Gale Rider back.
Yeah, interesting. I guess he has another spell to cast. Because that also taps some mana.
Indeed.
Mana with Sliver kindly giving its ability to every Sliver, not just itself. And so
looks like there's a 2 mana spell yet to come.
Yep. So we have Jace is going to take 3, leaving him dead next turn. Also meaning that if Maitland wants to draw cards, he's going to have to sacrifice his Jace to draw those cards. It's a good spot for Huey to be in, and Huey's still looking pretty good going to the late game. Like, if you can fade Maitland's Wrath here, because Maitland doesn't have a second white source currently in play, so if you can avoid a Wrath of a Supreme Verdict of some kind, well, I guess a Supreme Verdict.
It looks like
which Maitland should have 4 of.
So it looks like Maitland has drawn the planes, the second white source you were alluding to, and he has a Snap and a Wall of Vermintide cards. He might try to redraw this turn and look for something to set up next turn, as his Jace is looking far gone at this point.
Yeah, it has the option here of either ticking up the Jace to effectively gain 7 life. Cool. Gain 7 life, or tick down and look for a card and hopefully that all-important Wrath that he needs. Or Supreme Verdict, or Wrath of God is a shorthand for those type of effects.
So another play that he can make is, if he plays this white source, is to snap Flashback Path. and if he parts the Gale Rider sliver, he can then start blocking on the ground.
Yeah, with the wall of omens that he now has. And he's thinking now, because that involves taking another coin flip.
Indeed.
Because the Phonetic Slivers making every removal spell a literal coin flip as to whether it will pay off in Maitland's favor or not. So let's see. We've got something coming up with this Plains, because they don't enter tapped. We're getting a spellcast of some kind.
So, a path in
from his hand. All right.
This gives
a good line. And it's still, surprisingly, it still leaves the Wrath as an out here, because he can Ghost Quarter his own island if he needs to be, if he finds one off the Jace.
Oh, so here's the flip again. And that has really set back Maitland. But this allows him to tap out, and if he had a Wrath, this would be a perfect opportunity.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, we got the Ghost Quarter.
Searching
on his own
for
island.
Plains.
Find a second white source. Mm-hmm. This looks like a Supreme Verdict to me.
Indeed. And I think this is a great play by Maitland, getting rid of the Phonetic Sliver beforehand.
Yeah, so the Phonetic Sliver, because it exiles until end of turn, would allow Huey to flip for all of his creatures first, whereas here he only gets to flip for the Phonetic Sliver, and everything else is going to...
And with Jace slowly ticking up, it...
And now man looks very far ahead. The Jace is going to take over the game completely from here.
Yep.
So even with the Mutavault, he still can't kill the Jace without a Lord of its own.
Mm-hmm.
This Jace is looking very good on this board here. Maitland still has a Snapcaster Mage in his hand, so either look for a Wrath later, or just more Path to Exiles.
Yep, and I think with 3 cards in hand, Huey's definitely on the back foot. Looks like he has maybe 2 slivers in hand, 2 slivers in 1 land, by the looks of it.
He's really looking for more collector companies here, or any collector companies. But as it is, he's got a Blur Sliver, which will let him pressure that Jace, or kill it with a land, potentially. Otherwise, he's just looking to get back on the board and rebuild after the Wrath of God, the Supreme Verdict, which is very painful for him.
I think this is a match for Maitland, due to the fact that Huey doesn't have many cards in hand. Looks like a Mana Weft Sliver, and if he just controls the board,
so getting in for Jace for 2, giving him a lot of mana to work with next turn potentially.
Mm-hmm.
See what...
I believe we have a Wall of Omens redraw. Hopefully finding a land.
Wall of Omens finally getting to block. He's been waiting for such a long time, but now he gets to do what he was born for and block.
Mm-hmm. And we see that Maitland does have the mana for Flash and Snap and Path.
And get to flip another coin. See if this Phonetic Sliver can finally die to a Path to Exile.
The question is whether he goes after the Phonetic Sliver or the Mana Weft Sliver. Because, to be honest, getting rid of the mana production is very important.
I think he's down to only 2 or 3 cards, 3 cards in hand now. So they're not going to have a lot to do with the excess mana. And the Phonetic Sliver needs to die at some point, or Maitland's going to be playing flipping coins to every removal spell for the rest of the game.
That is true.
So we have a Blow Sliver here now, trying to get into the Jace for the last points of damage. We'll see if we can get 3 1-power attackers into this Jace through the Wall of Omens and finally get it off the board. Because that Jace has been a huge problem for him. It's gained.
Indeed.
It must have gained like 15 life at this point.
Instead opting to cast another Lord, I believe.
Is that a Sinew Sliver?
I believe so.
Yeah, Sinew. It is. So Sinew is just another Lord, 2 mana Lord in white this time.
And
so now all those creatures have 2 power.
Mm-hmm. So we have Snapcaster flashing back Path, I assume.
Yep.
Getting rid of the Sinew Sliver.
Interesting what you target here. Sinew Sliver, Sinew Sliver, even if it survives the flip here, it'll be removed from it'll be removed from the board, so his guys will no longer be enormous.
And I believe
wins the flip again. This has been a hero of Phonetic Sliver. It's blocked 3 Path Exiles and counting.
But while that is true, it does remove the Lord effect.
Yeah, the Lord is now gone for the turn, which means this Jace will survive.
And it looks like
and it lets Maitland go to blocks.
And if he blocks the Phonetic Sliver, he does have a chance of rolling again.
He gets the option of killing Snapcaster Mage or flipping another coin, see if it can get a 4th one in a row to save itself yet again.
But either way,
just going to go to damage.
All right. But either way, Jace survives, and this is a very big win for Maitland.
Yeah, the Jace is looking so good on this board now.
Mm-hmm.
It's locking down all the creatures. I guess there's still 2 power now, but and if at any point he decides that he can't save it anymore, he can always just find some more cards.
Indeed, especially hiding behind the Wall of Omens.
And if Maitland hasn't, his Sacrifice Mage is gone now, so he would have had an access to a Wrath of God, but it has now gone. Here we go. Jace has done his work. He's going to cash in for a card.
Indeed. 3 lands again.
In this case, 2 cards. 2 lands of some kind. Probably not what he was looking for.
I believe he's going to split the same way he did last time. Hui is going to split the same way as he did last time. Celestial Colonnade, and then on the other pile, an island and a temple.
I think as powerful as Colonnade is here, I'm hard-pressed to pass up 2 cards. But Colonnade blocks, and that could be very relevant. Oh, we see this second Jace
in hand, indeed.
In hand.
I'd be tempted to take the Colonnade because you don't have any in play at the moment. It is a powerful finisher, and you already have a land in hand.
Yeah, well, I guess with the land in hand, it makes it closer. But I think this one's very close.
Mm-hmm.
Although ultimately not what Maitland was looking for at the end of the day.
Yep, you can't deny the card advantage from the temple. The Scry is in fact a very powerful tool.
Yeah. So he's gonna take the 2 cards. Colonnade's gonna go to the bottom, and we'll see. Probably see a Scry here. Mm-hmm. Can't see what he's looking at.
No, hiding it from the camera.
Doesn't appear to be a land. It's thinking about it for a bit. So Maitland has a lot of lands in hand, and the next Jace, which gives an option to look for even more cards if he wants. Just like play another Jace, tip down again, keep looking for the Wrath.
It looks like he
decides to hold it.
Yep, looks like he's going to pass. Hopefully, find another Wrath before committing the Jace to the board, I'd assume. So
as it stands, Maitland has nothing. He has a Jace and 2 lands in hand currently, so nothing he can do at instant speed. So he has a turn to himself, and
the return
of a Frenetic Sliver. In we come.
And with the Mutavault activation, it's quite a powerful attack.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't attack with Frenetic Sliver.
Yeah, Frenetic Sliver not attacking seems... Instead, he's scared of Sacrifice the Mage again. Wants to respect the threat that got him last time.
Yep.
So just gonna get in for the 4 damage.
And down to 10.
Down to 10.
And here we see...
Think Twice. Yep. Think Twice, which I had forgotten about.
I know,
it's sneaky. It hides in the graveyard. Comes back later.
A small innocuous. 3 mana, draw 1.
Sometimes it's just what you need.
Indeed. And we see cards. The mana leak, which would have been very useful last turn, and a detention sphere.
Cavern of Souls still sitting on the far side of the board makes that mana leak feel a little painful.
Mm-hmm.
It'll still collect, particularly with the Mana Sliver in play, where he has access to 8 mana next turn. Nothing in his deck that can get mana leaked if as long as it gets cast before combat.
I agree.
Otherwise, there's the Detention Sphere seems very powerful. Interesting to see what he targets. It's not just the Lord. Okay. I guess
interesting. No flip this time.
Oh yeah, it's Frenetic Sliver's apparently it's 3 and done.
Mm-hmm.
It's decided that it's been the hero this game needs. Doesn't need to have any more flips happen.
Indeed. Hui might have some sort of plan to the Detention Sphere. You might have sided in some enchantment removal.
Yeah, if you're sitting on some way to remove the Detention Sphere, it's not worth taking the risk. You'd rather just kill your Lord. There's Harmonic Slivers in the sideboard he might have brought in. Or potentially the Necrotic Sliver as well.
Yep, yeah, two very good ways of dealing with enchantments. I probably wouldn't have been tempted to bring the Harmonic Sliver in, but the Necrotic Slivers are a guaranteed way to get out of a Detention Sphere. And here we see Maitland playing the Jace and taking up again, stopping any aggression from Hui.
Jace again looking really good on this board. Just gonna stop like 4 damage coming across, absorb some more damage from the attacks that go towards it, and then eventually cash in to draw some more cards. Looking at the card that has been so impactful this game.
Thorn in his side. Though he is only 1 draw step away from being able to unload his hand with Coco. But here we see another Lord. Very, very timely. Allows him to hopefully get some damage into the Jace. even through the Wall of Omens. And thankfully, due to the Blur Sliver's ability to give all slivers haste, he can get in for a significant amount this turn.
So we have everything is yet again a 3/3. Well, the Lord of the Manawar Sliver are 2/2s, and the other 3 are 3/3s. So we have, and then Shrunk by Jace, so they'll lose a power. So we have 6-8 damage coming across here.
An interesting block.
Interesting to block the Predatory Sliver, and not one of the
other 3 powered.
I guguess 2 power now, but yeah. So take. Oh, I guess maybe the Predatory Sliver was going at Jace potentially. Oh, everything was going at Maitland.
Maitland, which means
Maitland's down to 2.
2. A Cryptic Command.
Big draw.
I know. Time Walk in this deck.
I think this split's going to be very straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and it's going to take the Cryptic Command, and that buys him another turn, and another turn to Jace minus as well. Look for more ways out.
Yep, Cryptic Command, great in this matchup. Allows you to tap all creatures an opponent controls, as well as has 3 other modes: draw a card, counter a spell, and bounce a permanent, I believe.
Yep, that's correct. We're seeing the real power of Fnatic Sliver here, though, is that even if Maitland does find a Supreme Verdict, there's still going to be the Fnatic Sliver gets to flip for all the creatures, and still represent lethal when combined with the Mutavault back there as well.
Indeed. That sneaky Mutavault hiding behind. And with the fact that Blur Sliver gives haste, it'd be a very interesting next couple of turns.
This Wall of Women fortunately protecting Maitland from being dead to the Mutavault through the Cryptic Command, which is important here. Because if you tap all creatures, it allows, after it resolves, you can activate the Mutavault, which then becomes a creature to attack with.
Yep.
We've got a Sedge Sliver as well. So the Supreme Verdicts now seem even less like an out here. So we're gonna get some tapping going on.
Yep.
I expect the other mode will be draw a card, because bouncing creatures seems quite bad with the Fnatic Sliver in play. Because leaves you dead to having it exiled and then have a spell not resolve.
Yep.
So
here
we go. The Mutavault attack.
Just a simple block, and
it's the Mutavault's now a 4/4
due to the 2 lords.
Yep. And Jace minus here. So we're assuming that it's plus as it's been doing all game, but no, this time it minus.
And here we see some more digging.
Did not find the Supreme Verdict he was looking for. Although even now we have to win a solid 5 flips in a row.
Though the path that does didn't choose to take the path.
We got the Wall of Omens looking to find another Cryptic Command now. Cryptic Command being now the Jace is plus, the Mutavault represents lethal.
Yep.
So it needs a Cryptic Command.
And
still looking, searching for this Cryptic Command. So,
he sees a Snapcaster, but sadly he cannot Snapcast a Cryptic Command this turn.
Just searching. I think that might be it for Maitland. We'll see.
He does have a Condemn in hand.
So there's currently 6 lethal attackers coming across. And so Maitland has his Wall of Omens, and he has a Condemn, and that still leaves him with 4 lethal attackers coming across.
I believe if he paired the Condemn with the Supreme Verdict, he would have a chance, but it doesn't look like he has anything, and he extends the hand.
And that'll be the game. You get to see the raw power of Slivers in action, and Fnatic Sliver being the hero that Slivers needed to push through 3 Path to Exiles there. It's extremely powerful, that game. And while Maitland's Jace looked fantastic, it was nothing compared to the power of a 3-mana 2/2.
That stymied 3 removal spells.
Yeah, a very specific 3-mana 2/2. Okay. So,
and back to us in the booth.
It's an interesting game. Get to see the power of some cards you don't see so often in Modern and Slivers. It's not a commonly played deck. No other decks play any of these Slivers, so you see the power of it. And it wasn't even like cheated out with Mutavault or cheated out with Aether Vial or Collect Company. It just cast his Slivers in a good old-fashioned fair beatdown magic.
Yep, very, very powerful Slivers deck. I believe the last time we heard about Slivers was at a Star City event, I believe.
Yeah, it's good. So he's been playing Slivers for a while. He's seen him playing at local events occasionally. He's doing big well with it. It's a powerful deck. It gets people by surprise sometimes, as you saw Maitland often having to check exactly what the Slivers did, particularly the Fnatic Sliver to get the Oracle text, and find out exactly what these strange cards do, but it can be a bit of a beating.
That dark horse advantage.
Yeah.
Being able to play cards which your opponents aren't very familiar with.
Yeah, it was a good match, and saw the power of Slivers in action. Bit unlucky with Maitland there with his Jace at the end, not being able to find the cards that he needed.
Yep, unlucky that he couldn't find the rat. I agree.
Had a good look, couldn't quite get there. But in the end, it was a good game, interesting game.
Yep, I agree. Like you said, the explosive power of Slivers we saw in Game 1. We didn't see it in Game 2, but Slivers did pull through.
And it's just the strength of the deck, and that sometimes it can collect a company and kill you on turn 5, and sometimes it can play a long game and push through a Fennec Sliver. So yeah.
I agree. Though it's always interesting to see the Sliver mirror. Though I don't think that happens very often.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. So thanks for tuning in for this game. We'll hopefully be back with some more modern in the next rounds.
Yep, 2 more rounds left.
2 more rounds. And then hopefully...